for me, like what I found most interesting is because I have a hardware background in wearables, is what everyone's really talking about right now, which is the Rabbit, right? The Rabbit wearable. So we have to talk about it, obviously.
Of course we have to talk
we
about
have
it.
to talk about Hey everyone, this is John.
And Mike, Happy New Year, everyone. This is the first episode of Hatch Duo of 2024.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And today we're here to talk to you guys about 2024 CES. As always, Hatch Duo always goes annually every year, and we wanted to talk to you guys about the latest trends in tech, consumer electronics, and some of the stuff that we're noticing in the space.
John, did you know that this year for CES, it's its 100th year anniversary?
I know, it's crazy.
Can you imagine what it was like in 1924 to go to CES?
I know, it's like horses and carriages.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And speaking of the 100th anniversary, I think this year was the biggest turnout of CES ever.
Over 4,000 booths and like over 130,000 attendees. It's also the theme of like the century, right? AI for all.
Definitely, like I think the turnout was crazy, and the energy was just this year. With that, let's jump right in.
Okay, well, one of the larger focuses in this year's CES was sustainability. I think there's a lot of carryover from last year. Last year's theme was also sustainability. In terms of sustainability, there's so much to unpack, from more advanced fuel cells, different battery chemistries. I think those are great advancements that we're seeing in terms of battery technology and battery chemistry. One major, I guess, sustainability aspect, improvements using AI, is solar, right? Particularly ones that are on your roof. So optimizing energy harvesting using solar cells by weather, by different variables is one way that the solar industry is using AI to be more sustainable and more efficient.
And I think like Mike brings up really good points of like large scale macro solutions for sustainability. I think those are awesome, and it's really nice to see the industry moving away from what I would typically more greenwashing, where they're just, hey, the packaging's made with sustainable materials, or the plastic's made with eco-friendly plastic, and we're actually talking about industry with batteries and things of that nature. One thing like at a smaller scale though that we both noticed was in the home, right? So people are actually taking an interest to energy saving, the consumer level, or water saving. So definitely sensors and things that are out there. Shower heads.
Wherever high water consumption is being used, can be monitored, right? And for those who are more eco-friendly or are conscious about the environment, there are sensors and systems out there that will inform you of your water consumption or energy. As far as material use in terms of sustainability, we're seeing a slight shift in trend, less consumable and more longevity in terms of being in the aspect of repairability. I posted a teardown that I did on LinkedIn, which got a ton of traction. It was a Sonicare toothbrush, the 5100 series, and took it apart. And so one of the comments, right, that I got in that LinkedIn post, someone mentioned, and I did, this toothbrush, it uses like an aluminum body, and we're seeing this trend where you're seeing less landfill waste, less carbon footprint, and the ability to repair and replace components. Yeah. So serviceability is a huge aspect when it comes to sustainability.
Yeah, and I think that's a key point. As designers and engineers, we often focus on materiality, because we're kind of at the portion of product development sometimes in terms of like what we have to color, material, and finish. What Mike just said is like building products that last, and building products are not necessarily designed to be replaced like fast fashion. I think that's an important thing and cool to see at the show as well.
Well, yeah, there's that environmental responsibility aspect and being eco for using landfill.
In terms of sustainable projects that Mike and I have worked on here at Hatch Duo, we've worked on some that delve into the realm of sustainability, such as Video, where not only are we looking at a sensor that helps you understand exactly how much water you need to water a plant. And then I think too, like in terms of the 3D printing material that they're printing the housing with, it is biodegradable over time. That's something considered as well. And I think like our hope is to do more projects like that. Another one we worked on in the past is Solar's Solar Boombox. It was designed with the housing from upcycled ocean plastics. So obviously plastics thrown into our oceans is a huge problem, and finding materials to design with is something of focus as well. Where do you see sustainability going into the future?
I think it's what we talked about, repairability being one, materials, less consumable materials, more premium. By premium, I mean steels, aluminum, the higher grade metals as replacing plastics.
And I think within smart homes too, people are going to be more eco-conscious within their homes and measure electricity usage, water usage, wastes in terms of compost and things like that. A lot of people are going to be focused on what they can do at the consumer level as well.
In addition to that, I think there's potential for future proofing. Yeah, the theme would in sustainability here would be future proofing, designing certain features and inputs and outputs in electronics to be able to receive over the air updates.
Another observation that we noticed here at CES 2024 was the continuing rise of wearable tech, especially in the consumer space. And it's important to know our team observed a lot of software companies delving and dipping their toes into the hardware space, which is not surprising, right, Mike? I mean, especially with the hype around the humane pin and AI being primarily like a software platform now entering hardware. It's not surprising.
No surprise.
It's not surprising to see that there's a lot more hardware wearable applications. And in terms of our thoughts about wearables and where this is going to go, I think we're going to see a ton of growth in the wearable space, primarily because sensor technology, artificial intelligence is now entering, the measurement of safety around healthcare, just like things on your body. And these sensors, they're starting to measure things like what we worked on, right? Nighttime erections, things that people probably would not normally think to measure.
Yeah.
And then as these sensors are now kind of entering the market technology-wise, design and engineering has to facilitate that through some form to put it on your body, right? And so you're seeing wearable gloves, you're seeing glasses, you're seeing in-ear smart gesture-controlled earbuds, right? There's just a lot of that technology where your body is becoming kind of like a bridge to the software world.
And not to mention, it's an accelerated adoption for AI-enabled devices. Not long ago, 12 months ago, John, maybe we were talking about how, in the creative process, there's a lot of purists, other industrial designers who are against using AI as a tool.
Yep.
And now we're being spoon-fed,
yeah.
Right? And you almost have no choice but to adopt it and to adapt it within our daily lives.
Yeah. And I think like as product developers, it's important to really understand user interaction, human factors now, especially because, with stuff like AI, knowing how it not only fits on the body, but culturally fits into the context. Aesthetically, how should this look, right? Do the glasses look the right way when they're put on your head, even if it's a smart pair of glasses? Does this smart glove actually make, fit the environment that you're supposed to be in? Is it a gaming controller or is it a music?
Yeah.
Right? Like all those things matter. And so I think as product developers, that's something that we take note of and need to consider as we move into the future.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like the way we understand AI right now, it's a very like computer android kind of relationship, but what if it becomes more symbiotic? Like I think right now we don't really even understand. Like I think my answer or your answer, we don't know what the answer is going to be. Like you said, it's evolving at all times. So in terms of wearable tech, like where is this going to go? I mean, at one point in time, there was we were trying to do smart contact lenses at a certain point, right? Like I think that was from Mojo Vision, if I remember correctly. But I think to Mike's point, like the intelligence of AI is evolving day by day, like at speeds faster than we can even comprehend. So what does that mean? I think all that means is like the more we understand humans and the way we understand like the way we think, that's going to just help us be better product developers for wearables.
I agree. And to that point, I think leveraging AI is improving human intelligence. What I think everything that was showcased at CES is old tech. What's being developed now is like it's not even ready for the world to show.
Yeah, and on that note too, like I think Mike and I will not be able to have any of the predictive answers, especially with how fast AI is evolving. What I can tell you from observation though, wearables is falling into two different categories. It's data monitoring or data collection, data harvesting on the body, and a controller interface, right? Whether that's, you're using it for a video game, you're using it to do surgery, you're using the wearable to do some sort of gesture control. And those are the two categories I would say, like in the next at least like 2 to 3 years, as product developers keep an eye on and figure out ways to optimize for that, because that'll just make you, not only a better designer, better engineer, but also the product experiences that you're going to develop are going to be optimized.
In closing, right, on this topic about wearables, up until last year, we were seeing large language models, but then that has since evolved into large action models, LAMs. And so what John was talking about earlier was gesture control. And now using LAMs, AI can predict gestures. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're going to start seeing a lot more wearables, on-body wearables. And, as AI evolves and becomes smarter and smarter, we're going to see other uses outside of just wearables.
Speaking of AI was front and center at CES this year, and we can go on and talk about like all of the different facets of artificial intelligence as we observed at the show. Mm-hmm. But for me, like what I found most interesting is, because I have a hardware background in wearables, is what everyone's really talking about right now, which is the Rabbit, right? The Rabbit wearable. So we have to talk about it, obviously.
Of course we have to talk about it. But I thought you were going to be interested in the task robots.
Oh yeah, I know. I like
task
those,
robots
I like
that specifically help around the kitchen.
Oh yeah, no,
and,
I like
and
those
laundry.
too. Yeah, so we'll get to that.
Okay.
But let's just talk about, since everyone has their say on where this will take us and where personal computing is going to take us. Let's talk about the Rabbit. What is the Rabbit, Mike?
Rabbit is basically a personal AI assistant that's pocket-sized. You can place it in your pocket. There's a camera that faces and sees around you. There's a microphone. There's a speaker, and there's completely no apps. And it's like your Google Assistant or your Amazon Alexa assistant, except this is Rabbit version of their assistant, AI assistant. You can ask it anything, and I believe it's GPT powered.
Yeah, and I think what's cool about it is, like, I don't know about you, Mike, but I really like making like Marvel analogies. It's like Jarvis, right? Like for Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like where you're just like, hey Rabbit, or Jarvis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go order me some food. I want some steak, and it'll figure all that out for you, almost like an assistant or an intern. And I think that's what's really cool, is like you don't have to going through each of these individual apps yourself. It's figuring out your lifestyle for you. And I do think like it's a foray into like what the personal computing device will be.
Yeah.
Will it replace our phone though? I don't think so just yet. I still think there's some gaps to fill between right now, like the way we have our smartphones, the way we're
yeah, I wouldn't say it wouldn't replace it. I mean, look how within the last 12 months what AI has done.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the next thing you see, I think within the next 12 months is going to replace call centers. AI is going to replace call centers.
No, I think so let me rephrase. So I don't think that it's not going to replace the personal computing device. Okay. I'm just focused on, like, when we used to have flip phones, what was the next revolution to that? It was the Apple iPhone, more or less, right? Smartphones, right? And the BlackBerry, things like
the BlackBerry,
that. So I think like at the point we are right now, there's this ceiling right now that like we're trying to break through with. There was Google Glass before. There's some smart glasses now, but I think like with Humane Pin, with Rabbit, we're starting to try to break through this barrier of what is the next personal computing device. Mm-hmm. And I do think it is going to be some form of like what we're looking at right now. But I think like just from seeing the tech at CES and actually in use, will we really be able to, in the next year or so, replace like the smartphone? I don't think so yet. I still think there's a lot of things. Humans are a very visual, perceptive animal, right? And so we need to see the screen. We need to like look at stuff. And so, these voice-activated smart devices are cool, but I still think like people are going to want to look at stuff when they're on the train. Or
there's the aspect of convenience and entertainment and social media. Yes, I agree there. Yeah. But I think there's also in the immediacy. Yeah. But I believe there's also a place for an AI assistant to replace all that.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree there.
I don't think it'll be long before we see that.
What else? I mean, just to shift gears, we also, like Mike brought it up, like we saw a lot of smart home appliance devices. And I think it's important to know, why are we seeing this? I'll give my reasoning, and then I want to hear what Mike thinks. So my reasoning is that, because artificial intelligence is such a broad thing, like everyone's just using it left and right, but the actual application of it is it takes we deem as tedious tasks and makes it more accurate, more efficient, faster, right? So what better place to put it than in the kitchen? I mean, you're a better cook than I don't cook, but like when I'm in the kitchen, I don't know what I'm doing, right? And so for someone like myself, like measuring stuff properly, getting the right ratio for like an espresso, things like that.
Yeah.
I think like why not leverage AI, right? And so we're starting to see some of these trends with all these appliances, and I think that is something that's here to stay, and we're probably going to see exponentially grow.
I think we're going to see more and more of that, and when it comes to what it really comes down to, John, I think is our ethos, right? And that's something that Hatchville lives by. It's our motto. It's improving human experiences, and I believe AI in the household achieves that.
Yep.
I mean, the tedious tasks like cooking, cleaning, doing the dishes,
laundry,
folding laundry, all the above, cleaning your bathroom. Those are tedious tasks that can potentially be replaced by a task robot.
And you have more time to do other things,
right?
And I think
like spend time with your family,
or I mean, focus on actually more complicated recipes, right? Like, like things that you would see online, like some really cool chef recipe that you would want to follow. You're like, man, that's gonna take me like 4 hours to do all this. Like, but if you have the robot do all the dirty work, then you just get to kind of finish up the prep.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but like my biggest struggle every day is figuring out what to eat and what to cook.
There you go.
Yeah. So with AI, I hope that kind of solves my problem.
Yeah.
Well, on the flip side, what benefits do we see in using AI
in personal care,
in personal care, in household items? I think there's, for me, personal hygiene, is a big thing in all of our lives, right? So brushing your teeth, we obviously have sensors, electric toothbrushes to indicate if you're brushing too hard or.
But what if you had sensors that could technically discover pre-decay?
Exactly. Or even if you have gum disease, or if you can measure that, right? Gingivitis,
yeah. But that all being said, like Mike and I are guilty of this too. We talk a lot about AI on a daily basis, and obviously because the focus at CES was on AI, there's a lot of what we would call AI bloat, right?
Okay.
Like everyone's using it as a buzzword.
Fair enough. Yeah, it is a buzzword, and maybe it's being overused.
Yeah. Right? I mean, we're just talking about it right now, but like in our observation, we definitely went through the floor, and it's AI this and AI that, and so I think like as we kind of go through this emerging technology of artificial intelligence, we have to be very discerning of like what is actually going to be applicable to the human experience, and what are just companies just using the word just because they just want to say that they're AI enhanced. And I think it's important for us to discern between.
Honestly, there's no limits to AI, really. It's a continuous learning device. It's learning everything that it can on the internet. I don't think you can even imagine what it can become.
Yeah, to me, I can't even fathom what it will become. It's like I don't think we've had a revolution like this from a technological standpoint. Yeah. The internet, for instance, right? Like once that hit, like if you actually observe like how our world completely changed when we had the World Wide Web, like that is what is happening now with artificial intelligence. Like we can't even presume, like the World Wide Web allowed us to order taxis and rides from other people through our phone, right? And so with artificial intelligence, will that accelerate our journey into outer space? Will that accelerate us into interplanetary travel? Who knows, right? Here's the thing, like whether you like AI or not, that's your prerogative, but refuse to interact with it. If you refuse to try to utilize it, I do think it's going to replace a lot of what you know as the world.
Honestly, it's not discriminatory. There's so many, AI can learn from anyone or any individual and become custom tailored to those individuals who are using it. And it can adapt, meaning it doesn't matter if you adopt it or not, it's still going to continue on.
Yep.
Well, in conclusion, to wrap things up, these are our thoughts on our observations with this year's CES 2024.
If you like this video, please give us a like, subscribe, tell us what you liked or didn't like, tell us what your thoughts about CES too if you were at the show.
Yeah, comment down below.
Our team loved to meet some of you guys out there at the show, so definitely, if we saw you out there, to meet in person, and give us a comment, give us a like, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, and until then,
let's hatch
awesome.
Yeah.